Okay, and we're live. Okay, my friends and gems, thank you for tuning in, tapping in, and turning on to this broadcast. We're going to be talking about stem cell activation. And I want to go ahead and share my screen with you right now, and then we'll go ahead and dive in deep after we answer a few of your questions. Let me see if I can share my screen right now. I want to share with you one of the stories of transformation. My beautiful friend and gem, Chris Williams, who when he first came to us last summer, it was the 4th of July when he actually started on these patches. You can probably see here the text message that I have here from one of my directors, Lisa, where she said, I'm going to put my glasses on so I can make sure I can read this well. He started on the patches June 30th, and now it's just a week later. That's July 11th. And Chris was patching for just 10 days. Now, he had cancer, is now cancer-free, but still has voice issues. Low energy, not sleeping well, had mouth ulcers that were so bad that he could not speak for more than 10 minutes when we started him on the patches. And his hair is growing way faster than usual in just 10 days of being on these patches. Mouth ulcers down by 50% and disappearing. Pain in his mouth down by 75% and disappearing. His skin looks great, good, and is repairing. His age spots are gone. Again, this is not 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or a year. This is just 10 days. He has loads of energy, and she reminded him when we first talked about the patches, he couldn't talk for more than 10 minutes as he would fatigue and his mouth was so sore. She spoke to him on July 11th for 20 minutes, and he was going a mile a minute about his energy and his excitement and his results. He said today another friend said the same thing about him being able to talk longer. He went to his doctor last Friday, and they couldn't stop commenting on how vibrant, energetic, and overall he looked good. And he said it wasn't the usual, hey, Chris, you're looking good. It was like, wow, Chris, what are you doing? So then Lisa mentioned to him that her sister's hand stopped shaking, and he said, oh my gosh, I didn't even notice. So did mine. And oh, the sleep. He said he hasn't slept this deep in so long. He said he was on the Fantastic Five, which is what we're going to be sharing with you guys tonight. We're going to talk about the Fantastic Five and Silent Nights, which is our patch that is designed to activate melatonin in your body so that you sleep soundly and deeply. And he says here, I am humbled. I could help my very dear friend. This is from Lisa. And she was in tears talking to him. So Stacy, okay, so that's basically, I wanted to share that with you. I'm going to share another picture of Chris because Chris, when he came to us, he was completely bald because 3 years ago when he started chemo and radiation, he had gone from having a silver, a white beard and a little bit of hair on his head to losing all of his hair and all of his beard. And he had no facial hair or hair on his head until recently. And in December, let me share with you what he looked like in December. Let me see if I can find that picture from December. Here's the picture from December. All right. So this is the picture of what he looked like in December. And you will notice that in this picture, he still is bald on top, but look, he actually has a beard. Let me see. Yeah, you can see that he has some razor stubble and he's got a little hints of brown and the rest is, but he's actually growing back a beard. Wait, this was the first week of December. Now, just a couple weeks ago, let me share what he looks like as of the month of February. Here you go, my friends and gems. Look at how full his beard is here. Not only has his beard really grown out and it's so much more full, but it's almost all brown. And he has some hair on the top of his head. I'm going to show you a side view so that you can see it. He's literally growing back his hair, which I find so exciting. This is the side view. You'll see a video on my YouTube channel, but you can clearly see here how not only is his beard dark brown, and you could see his original hair is growing back and his original hair color. So this is just a little sliver of a little sliver of a little sliver. Not only is he free from all the pain that he had from the esophageal cancer, the mouth sores and ulcers that he had that the doctor said there's nothing we can do for you with regards to that. Also, another development with Chris was in November of just this past year, he had his esophageal implant that was put in here because he could not swallow food. It was supposed to be there for the rest of his life. Yes, in November, they removed that. And so now he's able to eat through his mouth, and he no longer has to have that implant there. So to say that Chris's life is radically changed from where it was just 6 short months ago is really an understatement. These are results, in my opinion, I'm going to call them, of biblical proportions. And this is somebody that I personally know in the flesh and blood. We were in Las Vegas together. We were working the A4M. That's the largest regenerative medicine conference in the world. It's been about 25 years that Dr. Bob Goldman actually has been putting those on. And one of the doctors that I am partners with, Dr. Galley, is one of the originally founding fathers of A4M, started 25 years ago here in Los Angeles. He's one of the speakers. He actually certifies doctors in different medical modalities. So my friends and gems, let's go ahead, and I want to go ahead and we're going to start with our presentation here. I'm going to share my screen here with you. Give me a quick second. I just need to cue this up. I had those pictures queued up. We're going to talk about the Fantastic Five. So I want to thank, let's see, Tim Woodard, as well as Carol for being here tonight. We're going to talk.
Hello.
Hi, Tim. Thanks for
How
joining
are
us
you doing?
tonight. I'm doing fantastic. It's good to see you on here.
Oh, that's good. I've got a question. I'm trying to remember, if you don't mind. Do you recall how we met each other?
I believe we met each other, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was at a Napoleon Hill event down in San Diego about, I'd say 6 years ago. Do you remember?
I
Like in Del
don't.
Mar?
I looked up my notes, and it seems I met you probably at the same time I met CC Woods
Oh, okay, from Dr. Joe. CC Woods is from Dr. Joe.
in Malibu. But I'm also working with Dr. Golly, and
You are?
Blake Ward.
I know Blake Ward, yeah. You're
Yes,
working.
he's been a patient at Dr. Golly's forever, and
Oh, I
we're
didn't know that.
well for several years. We're actually going to talk to him tomorrow. So
Fantastic.
I was just trying to put it together.
Yeah, so probably, yeah, I want to say it was about 6 years ago that we met. So
Hmm.
it'll come to me. I thought it was at a Napoleon Hill event. There's
Could have been LinkedIn, maybe
no,
something.
it wasn't LinkedIn. It was a live event because you would not be in my phone because you're on my regular phone, and then you just recently popped up on Telegram, and that's when I reached out to you. So
Right. And I saw you at Seasons 52 in the South Coast Plaza. You were having dinner with a fellow there that when I
mhm.
was there, and we talked for a minute.
Yeah, so
But,
the way my world works is like everyone is like 1 degree of separation. So I'm not,
mhm.
it's there's probably a lot more people that you and I are, that we know in common. Because there was also there was an event where I was called to do a blessing at the Dukes in Malibu. Maybe you were at that event
That
too.
might have been it when they started that Duke,
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
met Chris Calafati there that night too.
yeah. So it's possible that that may have been it
That
too.
was it.
That was
Okay.
that was 2017. Yeah, so
Okay.
I remember that. So very awesome. Okay, well, interesting. I love the serendipity and those connections when you have like, like all the paths of it's kind of like each life, each person that I know, they're like threads that make up this tapestry. And each person adds that richness into this tapestry that just gets more beautiful and more beautiful as time goes on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right, so I'm going to share with you my little guy climbing the DNA ladder for no other reason other than I think it's a great graphic and it brings me joy and it ties into this Fantastic Five. And so we're going to talk here about stem cell activation, about the mother and the daughter stem cell activation patch, and a few other supportive patches that we have. We, of course, I got to cross my T's and dot the I's because these patches are manufactured in FDA registered facilities. So we got to make sure that we play nice. We have a good relationship with the FDA. We want to keep it that way so that we continue to provide this life-saving technology to 82 countries and growing. And so the patches are not intended to treat, prevent, or cure any disease. Sidebar, only pharmaceuticals can do that. So we do not heal, cure, treat, or diagnose, nor do we offer any protocols. The suggestions do not replace the diagnosis and treatment by a qualified, licensed healthcare professional. We strongly recommend you consult with your doctor concerning your specific health challenge and treatment needed. No medical claims are being made with the suggestion here, and the patches are general wellness products. They're FDA compliant and created and manufactured in FDA registered facilities. So that being said, let's move on to the next thing. This technology is possible because of the brilliant work of Dr. Lauren Picard. I've never met him in person, but I know that someday, very, very soon, probably this year, I will get to meet him in person because, yes, he is still alive. And in 1973, he should have won a Nobel Prize. It's not too late yet. We have over 2,000 studies that have replicated the results that he discovered in 1973, where GHKCU copper peptide, that's a tripeptide for those neuro nerds that are out there that want to know, but copper peptide activated 33%. That's 1/3 of your previously dormant stem cells, turning genes to a younger, healthier state. Massively monumental because up until then, no one had ever discovered or been aware of the fact that you could turn on previously dormant stem cells that would then repair your body to a younger, healthier state. So what are stem cells? A lot of people don't know what stem cells are. Just think of what your master smart cells that were there at the time of conception, because when your mother's ovum united with your father's sperm, at conception, you have complete information to the tune of 23,688 genes and stem cells, those master smart cells that are there to form you in your mother's womb. This immediate, fast replication and construction of growing you into an embryo and then later into a fetus is now starting to take place because those stem cells are pluripotent. Pluripotent simply means that plural, as opposed to singular, has many potentials. Potent potentials, of course. And so each one of those stem cells have all the information that you need as a human to go from conception all the way until you take your very last breath at whatever age that might be. And so you see here in this graph, each stem cell, because it has 100% of everything you need, can turn into any kind of cell, from a fat cell to a red blood cell to a nerve. It has complete information. And so, oh, by the way, it's good to be aware that by the time you're only the tender age of 25, that your fibroblasts begin their decline in your production of collagen. Now, I want you to be aware and comprehend that collagen is the #1 building block protein of the body. It's required for tissue, for skin, inside and outside of the body. And by the time you're 30 years old, 50% of your stem cells turn off, not because they're damaged, destroyed, or because they disappear. They simply go dormant by the time you're 30. And if you continue for each decade of life, 30 years old, 40, 50, 60 years old, by the time you're 60, 90% turn off. Again, just as a reminder, not because they're damaged, destroyed, or they disappear. They simply go dormant. They lie there and wait until you apply a stem cell activation patch. Your body is just like your house. It's a temporary housing unit to house the personality that is you. And if you look inside the body, your stem cells are very similar to the printer ink cartridges that you have in your copy machine. And you look at inside the body, if you want to have a sneak preview on how do these patches work, well, it's very simple. We are infrared light beings. Our body, we have 56 trillion cells in the body. Every single cell, every molecule of your body has electrons. The fluids in your body, like your blood and your cerebral spinal fluid, have electrolytes. Electrolytes and electrons are packets of electricity. And when you measure that light under a spectrum, you see that that is an infrared light. So that if I were to look at you through night vision goggles, much like the military and the law enforcement does, if I were to look at you, I would see you glowing in the dark because the infrared light that's coming from all those electrons and all those electrolytes don't get contained within the skin walls. In fact, it emanates and glows outside of your skin because you are, in fact, quite literally a light being. You're made of infrared light. And that infrared light now is going to bounce off of the patch, much like a diamond crystal. Because if you look at a diamond crystal and I were to shine a flashlight on a diamond crystal, you will notice that the light is coming from the flashlight. It bounces off of this crystal and it's reflecting back to your eyes all the different colors of the prism, right? Same thing is true with the crystals that are on the patch. Those crystals on the patch are simply a mechanical device, just like a diamond crystal, acting and behaving like a mirror, so that as soon as you put it on your skin, it's going to reflect back your own inner infrared light to immediately begin the activation, in the case of this particular patch, GHKCU copper peptide. Each patch has a different pattern set to a different frequency to give you the outcome of what the mother stem cell activation patch, as opposed to what the daughter stem cell activation patch, et cetera, et cetera. So each patch has a different configuration. It's a geometrical pattern in which the crystals are arranged, and those crystals are also programmed with a specific frequency to create this effect on your body to signal the things inside with cellular repair. So while phototherapy has in fact been defined as the use of ultraviolet light for its healing effects, these patches have been specifically developed to reflect light in the infrared and visible light bands back onto the skin where the patch has been placed. So supported by normal electrodermal skin conductance, that just basically means that electricity flows through your body, which is like when you sometimes shuffle your feet on a carpet, any kind of carpet or rug in your house. Sometimes you'll touch another person or touch something and you get shocked. That's because you have electrodermal skin conductance. So the human body gives off a number of materials biochemically, including particulate release, tiny, tiny, tiny little particles, gas emission, ultraviolet, infrared, near infrared, and the visible spectrum of light. This then stimulates that area of your skin, and it's producing improved physiological effects. So variations on phototherapy have been used for at least 100 years, and in that time, there's been very little evidence of any kind of negative side effects. This suggests that this is a relatively untapped option for healing with relatively few risks. So I want to hit the pause button here because everyone is thinking, it's like, why haven't I heard about this stem cell activation? This is so cutting edge and new. And the patches, yes, it is a new technology. The mother stem cell activation patch has only been out for 4 years, and the daughter for 2. We have a whole line of 11 patches. The company's just 20 years old. But phototherapy and photobiomodulation, we've known that the Egyptians, the Incas, the Mayas, the Shaolin monks in China, and the Taoists have used phototherapy, also known as photobiomodulation, for thousands of years. Okay, this is not new technology. In fact, if you look at the first, let's talk about the fact that science is, in fact, the contemporary language of mysticism. Mysticism and the ancient practices of old have been around for 5,000-10,000 years. Science, as we know it, has only been around for 300 years. And it was just in 1903. In fact, if you look at the first documented use of photobiomodulation under a scientific veil or framework, if you will, that was in 1895 by Niels Ryberg Finson. And in 1903, he went on to win the Nobel Prize for his research on using red light to treat tuberculosis of the skin. So I want to hit the pause button again because we are, as of this recording and as of this broadcast, it's 2024. And this was 1903 that he won the Nobel Prize for photobiomodulation. And what did he accomplish that won him the Nobel Prize? Well, in his experiments with mice, he found that exposing them to red light reduced both their symptoms and their mortality rate from lupus vulgaris. So this scientist was using infrared light to keep people from dying in the at the turn of the century, not 2000, we're talking 1903. So this is not brand new. It's just now getting on your radar is really what's happening, because now you need it for whatever reason. So I want you to also notice that this is an FDA registered product. It is non-transdermal. What does non-transdermal mean? All that means is that nothing transfers into the dermis, which is the skin. It's also non-invasive. We're not putting a needle through your skin. There's nothing that's invading your skin. Nothing is being absorbed by your skin. Although it's organic sugar crystals, organic salt crystals, organic hydrogen, oxygen, and water crystals, as well as a proprietary blend of organic amino acids, those are not being absorbed into your skin. Those are simply a mechanical device acting like the diamond crystal I just showed you seconds ago, and it's reflecting back the infrared light that's already in your body, reflecting it back up to 4 inches deep through the tissue, through the bone marrow, all the way down to the cellular level of your body, 4 inches deep, to activate GHKCU copper peptide in your body, to turn on a third of your previously dormant stem cells. This is a holistic, FDA-compliant Class 1 medical device under the general umbrella of a general wellness category. These patches are not for a specific medical condition. They work systemically on the systems of the body, and they restore what's out of balance, no matter what organ system or what organ you have that's afflicted, or what organ you may have injured through, you may have fallen through the roof. As I showed in our 2 o'clock broadcast, we had somebody who fell through the roof, broke 6 ribs, punctured his lung. Ouch, that must have been extremely painful. Guess what? You're out of balance when you suffer an injury. You're out of balance when you have disease, when you have syndromes or malfunctions of systems of the body. Guess what? From out of balance, you go now into balance. We manufacture these products in FDA-registered facilities, as I mentioned a bit ago, here in the United States, and our facility in Ireland is registered with the Irish Medicine Board. We manufacture our products to the same standards as a medical device, and our facility in Ireland is, in fact, ISO 9001 and ISO 13485 compliant. And those are quality standards per our visionary scientist, David Schmidt, who I like to describe him as being the perfect combination between Nikola Tesla, Albert Einstein, and Steve Jobs. If you were to braid the 3 of those personalities and individuals and beings and intelligence together into one human, you would get David Schmidt. He is a spectacular visionary and inventor with over 150 global patents. Means that over 82 countries have approved his patents. And this is available in 82 countries, and we have about 15 distribution centers globally. So it's really important because your body is primarily made up of water. We know that babies come out of the mother's womb, out of being in that amniotic sac where they were swimming for 9 months. They come out the chute and they're about 82% water. And by the time you're 60 years old, well, actually the average adult is about, 55% in the United States, at least. By the time you're 60, you're about 55% water. Yet from birth until death, your DNA is a constant at 92% composition of water. So the primary structure, that's right. If you're going, oh my gosh, is water the primary structure of our DNA? That would be yes. That's a very smart, very good deduction on your part. The primary structure that holds up your DNA, all 23,688 of them, is water. So when you get dehydrated, you start to compromise your DNA. Uh-oh, not so good. So it's really important to keep yourself hydrated, and it's required that you drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water, just for general wellness and being, but especially when you're on the patches. Now, I would never tell you what to do. You do whatever you want. You're a big boy, a big girl. However, we've always known in the health and wellness community, Olympic athletes, collegiate athletes, they all are very aware that you have to keep properly hydrated, keep a proper balance of your electrolytes. There we go, those packets of light information again, electrolytes. When you're 2% dehydrated, you feel thirst in your mouth. You're starting to already put a compromise on your DNA because your DNA is still going to require that 92% water composition. Now you go to 8% DNA. I think you'll be quite horrified to see what happens when you allow yourself to become 8% dehydrated. And this is someone who's properly hydrated, and you're going to see that the helix strand is properly formed. You see, it's a beautiful infinity signal, a figure 8, the way it's supposed to be. Someone who has 8% dehydration, your DNA starts to unravel. Yeah.
Are we supposed to be seeing that?
Yeah. Can you not see this?
No, I didn't see that.
You can't see that. Oh my gosh, what happened to the screen share? Oh my goodness. You should have been.
I've just been seeing you the whole time.
Oh, I am so sorry. That's like my bad. That's called OE, operator error. So I'm going to share with you because that means that you and the people on Facebook, not Facebook, YouTube, didn't see these images. So I'm just going to make my way down here to the image that shows the DNA strand. So we're going to show you this again because I think it's important to see the diamond crystal. And when you flash a light on it, the crystals on our patches are doing the same thing, except the light source, instead of being the flashlight, your body is the light source. It's the battery that operates these mechanical devices called stem cell activation patches. Next, we're going to go down to the next. We talked about the first documented case, about the fact that this is FDA registered. And now we're talking about water. And this is what your DNA looks like when it's properly hydrated. When you're drinking 50% your weight in fluid ounces, you've got the proper DNA strand. But at 8% dehydration, your DNA it's the pull of dehydration is so great that it starts to unravel your DNA because it's no longer 92% water. It starts to fall apart. It starts to unravel. At 10% dehydration, you literally lose your mind because your brain is very hydrophilic. The brain is primarily 75 to 85% water, and it's very water loving. And so when you are dehydrated, it pulls water from your brain. A lot of people will get headaches and migraines simply because they're dehydrated. And if you get to 12% dehydration, there's no such thing as 13% dehydration, my friends and gems. At 12% dehydration, your body, it's like cement. Nothing can flow. All the light shuts off, you're dead. There's no coming back from that. Game over, too bad, so sad. You got to shake off that meat suit and take better care of it next time. So it's critically important to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. What does that look like? So somebody who's about 150 pounds, if you take 150 divided by 2, that's 75 ounces of water from the time you get up until you go to sleep. Now, the equivalent of that would be, in liters, would be 2.2 liters of water. And for people who like to measure things by an Arrowhead or a Sparklets or an Aquafina bottle, those bottles are about 15.9 ounces. So that's about 5 of those a day. So you can see how it's very easy to drink 2 of those in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, and then drink 1 or 2 in the evening to meet your requirement. And again, it's all based on whatever your pounds are divided by 2, that's the number of ounces you need to drink. And if you don't drink that, then again, what you're having is a competition with your DNA needing to pull water, and your body will create the stem cells. And instead of the stem cell getting to where it needs to go, it's the equivalent of it being like in quicksand. It's like in a mosh pit, and it'll create the DNA, and your stem cells will create that new cell, replacing whatever that damaged cell is, wherever it is in your body. And it'll stick with the other cells that have been produced until you hydrate and then loosen them up so that now they can get down that slippery highway called your blood flow, etc., in the body. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So the patches, how long are you going to wear these? So part of the beauty of wearing the patches is that you're going to be wearing and signaling your body every single day. So as you're aware, your organs never take a break. Your organs are functioning for you 24/7 all the time. They never turn off. And so what we're going to be doing is we're going to be honoring your sympathetic nervous system, which goes along with from sunrise to sunset, and then your parasympathetic system, which is from sunset to sunrise. Your parasympathetic is your rest and digest system. So for 12 hours, you're going to have the floodlights on. You can visualize, kind of play, pretend, and make believe in your mind's eye that you see 33% additional floodlights on that are turning this rapid repair inside your body, getting all this done because you have all these little remodeling workers inside your body and outside of your body, replacing, restoring, regenerating any damaged cells that you have anywhere in your body, damaged tissue. If you have scar tissue or lesions, it's replacing it with the original tissue. It's getting your brain that's out of balance and starting to bring it into balance. So you have that homeostasis feeling, that calming effect. So let me share with you here now about Dr. John Harmon, who came to us just a few short years ago. And when he was hiking and his knee was giving him a lot of pain and trouble, but he started to notice that in addition to the knee pain that he was having, that was really quite unbearable, he went to his doctor and his doctor said, "Hey, John, I don't know how you're walking on that thing. It's like a polished knob." He said, "You're going to have knee surgery." And he's like, "Oh, I really don't want to do that. Just the prospect of that sounds very daunting." And originally he was a chiropractor, and then he later specialized on the brain doing QEEG scans as a brain trauma center in his hometown. And one of the things that he was noticing as he was hiking was he kind of felt like this weird fluttering sensation in his chest. So he went to get checked out, and not one, not two, but three cardiologists told him, "Oh dear, oh no, we hate to tell you this, Dr. John, but you've got a right bundle branch blockage." And guess what? This right bundle branch blockage, too bad, so sad, but it's inoperable. We can't do anything about this right bundle branch blockage because it is inoperable, and you're going to have to live with this condition for the rest of your life. And it is going to curb your longevity because you got a bad pump, and you're going to have to be on heart meds for the remainder of your life. And he thought, well, he was already into things that were organic and holistic. And he thought, oh my gosh, surely there has to be something on the face of this earth that can fix me somewhere, somehow. And guess what happened? That's when the patches came into his experience. And after 3 or 4 months of wearing the patches, he noticed that he had zero pain in his knee. And when going back to the doctor told him, "Guess what? You don't really need knee replacement surgery anymore because it looks like you're rebuilding and looks like you've got new ligaments and new tissue and cartilage has reformed. So no wonder you don't have any pain. You don't need it anymore." Don't know how that's possible in a man of your age because he's definitely north of 60 years of age, but that was a pleasant surprise. And so fast forward to 14 months, because he continued to have his doctors check and scan, and he was under the supervision of 3 cardiologists. And when he went to see all 3 of those cardiologists just 14 months after he began wearing these stem cell activation patches, all 3 of those cardiologists were astonished. They said, "Wow. Never have I read in any research paper, any clinical studies, never have I seen this in my practice, that anyone has had the ability to reverse or to repair their right bundle branch blockage, because you no longer have a right bundle branch blockage. It has pretty obviously disappeared." And he was very excited to let them know, "Well, let me tell you why it's disappeared. It has disappeared because I started stem cell activation patches just 14 short months ago. And that's what's made all the difference in the world." In a minute here, I'm going to see if I can pull another picture of Dr. John, because he was at the Leadership Stem Cell Conference that I was at just this weekend. I just got back Sunday night. So in a minute, I'll share a picture of what he looks like, because you're seeing quite clearly, not only did he receive the benefit of cellular repair on the inside of his body for his heart and for his knee and anything else he may have not known that he had wrong, but your stem cells, their job is to replace damaged cells. Wherever you have oxidative stress, you have damaged cells. The only reason why you have fine lines and wrinkles, the only reason why you have white hair is because of oxidative stress. So as your stem cells are replacing and restoring those things that are vital, that are required for you to be alive, it knows how to prioritize your heart, your liver, your lungs, your brain first, and then the things that are in secondary level of importance and third level of importance. And it's important to also replace damaged cells in your hair follicles, in your skin. So you can clearly see here from this picture what he looked like when he began. using stem cells, and you can clearly see that he was mostly gray. I could play tic-tac-toe on his forehead, had a lot of inflammation you can see from his face. I happen to have one of my medical certifications is in traditional Chinese medicine, facial diagnosis. And I can see that he had a lot of inflammation on his face. You can clearly see the lines across his cheeks. And now you see, not only has he restored his original hair color, which, oh, by the way, began from the back of his head. He had no idea until someone pointed it out to him. And then it traveled forward. His hair is almost entirely brown now. When I show you the picture from this weekend, you'll see that. Let's move on to the next person. This is a friend of mine who, he's the first person that I patched who had long haulers COVID. This was on June 23rd. And Barry suffered for 18 arduous months with long haulers COVID. He got a bad case of COVID. And then for 18 months, he was dragging horrible insomnia, could not save. I mean, nothing that he tried would get him to go into deep sleep. Just could not go to sleep or get to sleep or stay asleep. He would wake every day with nausea. He would wake up with a headache. He had low stamina. He had fatigue. It was just exhausting. And as more time went on, it was more demoralizing and more depressing because he wasn't improving. He was just getting worse. And so when we started him on the patches, I called him up and I said, Barry, we got to get you started on these patches. We need to knock out that that bug that you have that's still lingering in your system. And we need to get you a good night's rest so that your body can start that reparation process. Because right now, because you're not sleeping, you're not getting that reparation. And so he said, absolutely. We got him started on the Fantastic Five, all five. It wasn't just one patch, it was all five. 39, 49, glutathione, carnosine, and eon, which I'll tell you what those do in just a minute. He received his patches, and then on the 23rd, normally the patches are day patches. You want to wear them from first thing in the morning until evening. However, he had not slept for 18 months. And so I wanted him to get a good night's rest. So I said, you know what? Instead of starting you in the morning, let's get you a good night's rest tonight. So we're going to start you now. It was around between 3 and 5 in the afternoon. He's in Canada. I'm in California. We applied the patches on him. And I said, tomorrow, 24 hours from now, just get back in touch with me. I want to know if you slept, how well you slept, and I want to know how you're feeling overall. Just give me an update. Very next day, you can see here, this is dated June 24th, about 3:44 p.m. And he says, hey, Lillian, just a note. Don't know if it's a placebo or the stem cell patches work that quick or what, but I had really good sleep. A little better sleep than other nights. I fell asleep quicker. Today, I'm just on a high. I am ecstatic, and Gwen sees that in me. And I feel really, really good physically. When I woke this morning, no headache, no nausea. Yeah, it's just been a phenomenal day. So thank you, and I'll update you as we go along. Hope all is well. Thanks. Bye. Oh, that was like the biggest paycheck for me in the world. I felt so awesome that I was able to provide a very dear friend of mine. Finally, after 18 months, he finally had relief. He not only slept well, woke up with no headache, no nausea, game changer, plus his stamina was up. He didn't have low stamina, low fatigue. Now he had restored his energy, and he quite clearly says here he was ecstatic. And his wife saw that. Gwen saw that. And in fact, this weekend I talked to them. It was really cool because they were kind of giving me another update, and they're both like very energized and doing phenomenally well. So now we have Kathy McCarthy, and she's a friend of mine who is a world record holder in skydiving, very athletic, very, very incredible human being. I'm very fortunate. I seem to be a magnet for incredible, like superhuman beings like you guys who are on this broadcast. And Kathy, her story is that she was plagued with autoimmune disorder for 33 years. She had 3 breast implants, and she got autoimmune disorder from those breast implants, and it was wreaking havoc with her body. It was causing her a lot of stress, a lot of anguish. She kept on going doctor after doctor after doctor for 33 years, looking for an expert who could finally give her some relief. And she would come up snake eyes, no relief, until we told her about the patches. And some mutual friends of ours told her, listen, you need to get started on these patches. And she kind of scoffed and said, what? You think that little sticker Band-Aid thingy-majingy is going to be able to do what 33 years of doctors who have all this medical education, they haven't been able to help me unring the damage of autoimmune disorder and all the symptoms that I'm having from this. And that little sticker is going to do it? I don't think so. And she was just calling it like it is. And we're like, look, we've got 90 clinical studies to show this. Plus, we have thousands of people on Telegram just in our group alone that are all on the patches. And every single day we get testimonials, unsolicited testimonials, and then at least 2 a day that go on our broadcast at 6 p.m. that share this life-saving technology and the horrors that they were experiencing before and what they're doing now and how all those things have disappeared. She's like, okay, well, I'll go ahead. I'll commit to wearing these for the next year, but I don't think this is going to do any good. We said, okay, great. Now make sure you take a picture now before you start on the patches and every 30 days after. Luckily, she did that. Otherwise, we wouldn't have these pictures, right? And lo and behold, she took these pictures, and in October of 2022, she posted this on her Facebook. And as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh my gosh, these are awesome pictures. Holy cow, I had no idea that this transformation on the outside was this significant. So I immediately reached out to her and I said, you need to give me your profile picture, and I would love for you to come on my YouTube. We'll do a Zoom, just like this phone call, because I was on a phone call with her like this. And I said, would you do a Zoom where you tell your entire story from when you first started having problems with these breast implants and were diagnosed with this autoimmune disorder, all the way to now where you're like free of all that stuff? She goes, no to the profile picture. I don't do profile pictures, but I will do the Zoom, and you can post it all over social media. I don't care. I said, great, because I'm going to forward this pictures that you shared on your Facebook profile. I'm going to share it on mine. And I know my friends know that I'm not going to put any BS up there, but they're going to share it with their friends, and they're going to share it with their friends. And if I were a friend of a friend, I'd go, oh, that was Photoshop. That can't be true. That's got to be bogus. There's no possible way that could be accurate. No. Just don't waste my time, right? So I said, but when they see you on video, they'll see that you are the way, I can't change my hair color or take away wrinkles or add or do anything. So they'll see you in live time. They'll go, oh my gosh, yeah, your neck and your chest match the picture as of July 14th, right? So we did do that. You can look on my YouTube channel. You can see that video, and you'll see that she matches. After we did the interview, then I sent her the link, and then she changed her mind, and then she gave me her profile picture. So you'll see that this profile picture, with anybody can argue, of course, oh yeah, that must have been photoshopped, it must have been retouched and so forth. I'll give you that. Go look at the video. The video, you'll see she looks exactly like this. She looks like she's 35 to 40 years old. And you'll see that when she started in January of 2022, she was 62. She is now 64 years old. Incredible, absolutely incredible. Here's my story. I got hit by a bus just 3 blocks shy of finishing a 16-mile bike ride. It was a miserable experience. I suffered a traumatic brain injury. I literally had brain damage. Point of impact was the bottom lower left and my lower back, and I went flying off my bike. The bus driver, nobody ever intends to hit somebody with their car or with their bus in this case. He simply miscalculated. He saw me and he thought he had enough room to clear, and he didn't. And so there I went flying. I didn't know what hit me because I looked left, there were no cars. I looked right, there were no cars. And as I began to go looking left again, I never got to complete that. I was hit and I was airborne. So by the grace of God, I didn't break any bones, but I did suffer brain damage. And all these symptoms that you see listed here, all of those things plagued me for a very long time until I got on the patches. And although I had recovered some of my short-term memory, because I'm a neurosomatic practitioner and what I do is repattern the brain from physical and emotional trauma, and I've recovered other people's memories, I knew how the brain worked and how you can repattern it, how you can regrow neurological pathways of the brain. But my memory wasn't 100% to where it was prior to my accident until 4 weeks after being on these patches. I was on the Fantastic Five, plus the Neuro patch, plus our energy patch. And in 4 weeks, I was like, oh my gosh, my memory is better. It's as good as it was when I was pre-med at USC. And in that instant, I had the memory of my first surgery, only surgery I'd ever had, when I was in kindergarten in November of my kindergarten year. And I remember being in the hospital for a week, and the realization came to me, oh my gosh, When I had that surgery, I was under general anesthetics. For those of you who don't know, for each time that you're undergoing general anesthetics, there's 4 things that an anesthesiologist does to you. First thing is they wipe out your memory. Number 2, hypnosis. 3, analgesia. They turn off your pain receptors. And number 4, they paralyze you so that the surgeon can do his precise work under the knife or under the laser, whichever it is, depending on the type of surgery modality you're being subjected to. And then they lower your vitals, they lower your respirations, they lower your blood pressure, they lower your pulse rate. And by doing that, they deprive the brain from oxygen. And for each hour that you're under general anesthetics, you suffer a more severe traumatic brain injury. And so I had the realization that in kindergarten, I suffered my first traumatic brain injury. And my second was when I got hit by a bus. And that's why 4 weeks later, my memory was not just as good as it was when I was pre-med at USC. I realized that because I had that surgery when I was in kindergarten, I never had the benefit of my entire short and long-term memory through my entire academic career, kindergarten until present. And that's why my memory was so much better. And I play memory games now, so I can close my eyes right now and you can write this number down. So some of the memory games that I've played is like, okay, let's see what 11 digits to the right is for pi. So 11 digits to the right for pi, what I did was I looked it up, I wrote it on a 3x5 card, I turned the card over, and then I wrote it down, see if I could recite it, by memory. And ever since then, that's been lock, stock, and barreled into my brain. So let's say I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to tell you what the number is so you can write it on a piece of paper. And then after the broadcast, you can go ahead and look on Google and see that the number is in fact correct. And that number is 3.1415 33 92 65 35 9. And another number is the golden mean ratio. And the golden mean ratio is 1.61 80 33 98 87 4. Now, those are little things there are things that I remember that there's no effort, which is the big distinction for me, because I used to have to really work at memorizing, learning, and then reciting if I needed to say something verbatim, to anyone on whether it was these broadcasts or in a session with a patient or a client. I don't have to effort anymore. I just read it. I'm able to absorb it, learn it, and then put the intention that I want to recall and recite it later. And it's so. And I think Carol has been on here enough times on these broadcasts to tell you, I remember dates of when people started on the patches. Is it necessary for me to know? Actually, it's kind of handy. I remember that both Carol and her sister started on Tuesday, August 8th. I remember that Ann Bandini started on November. She was just on a broadcast a couple of days ago. She started on 11/22/2022. So do I have to remember these things? No, but it's really nice that I remember these things because it's useful. It comes in handy. So let's talk about we're just going to go over the bullet points of what these 5 patches do. You don't have to remember these. These can be sent to you via text. You can also obviously watch the broadcast again on YouTube, but they are in text form so that you can have it on your cell phone so that as you want to look up and you're like, okay, what did 39 do? What did 49 do? What are the Fantastic 5? Which patches are those? Et cetera, et cetera. You'll have it in a text message. You don't have to remember what all these do. 39, the mother stem cell activation patch. This one resets 1/3 of your genes, like I said, to a younger, healthier state. Regenerates cells, replacing damaged cells with new cells. Restores collagen, the #1 building block protein. Rebuilds scar tissue, reduces fine lines and wrinkles. Increases energy, increases sexual libido. Yes, we have men and women alike that call this sex 39 because because I've seen so many husband and wives that got started on these patches that now they're like in their second honeymoon. When you restore your body to a younger, healthier state, that's what happens. Increased antioxidants, increased anti-aging, increased anti-inflammation. Pain relief, 50 to 100% pain relief within 3 to 4 minutes. That's not just in our 90 clinical studies, but we see it all the time with people that we patch who have all sorts of different things. In fact, one of the things that I love to do, whenever I'm out and about, I always have the mother stem cell activation patch. And then I have the ice wave patch, which is the only patch we have that doesn't repair anything. But ice wave turns off pain receptors, just like analgesia does in general anesthetics. It said the clinical studies show that this is as powerful as hospital grade morphine. It's used in 5 hospitals in France, and a lot of different medical centers, hospitals, clinics, doctors' offices use this in their practice. So I keep these 2 in my purse at all times. If I hear of anyone having a migraine or a headache or any pain for that matter, but let's just focus on headaches and migraines. As soon as I hear someone saying, "Oh, I have a horrible migraine," I'm like, "Really?" I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're in luck. I'm a stem cell activation specialist. They're organic, they're holistic. There's no drugs in them. Would you like me to patch you?" And they're like, inevitably, they're like, "Yes, yes, whatever you have, I'll take." I'm like, "Great." So I'll take the mother stem cell activation patch. I'll put the patch right on their neck bump. That's where your brainstem signals your autonomic nervous system through your spinal column, through your spinal cord, and it signals your entire body. And then I'll take the ice wave patch, which is a 2-patch system, and I'll simply put the tan patch on the left. One's a pulling negative charge, the other one's a pushing positive charge. So I'll put the tan patch on left, white patch on right. And within 30 seconds to no more than a minute or 2, every single person that I have patched like that in the United States, as well as Europe, through Germany, through Spain, through Italy, through England, anywhere I've been in Europe, France, 100% of the people are like, "Oh my gosh, can this really work this fast?" And they always look out in the horizon. It's like, "Where did I lose my headache? Where did my migraine go?" So funny. They all have the same reaction. And then they're looking at me, and then oftentimes they'll go like this because they couldn't turn. It was too painful to move. Their head was so, their brain was so sensitive. And now they're like, "I'm fine." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And the lights don't bother me, and this and that and whatnot. Yes, it works that quickly. So it's really quite extraordinary. This is the mother stem cell activation patch. And like I mentioned, ice wave as well. Good thing to know is that we do have traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture points that we apply the patches on to actually magnify the effects of the patches. My little rule of thumb is point to the pain that you have anywhere in your body and patch it. Because we're going to light up that area of the body first, we want to kind of surround that area with the light to activate the stem cells that will immediately start that cellular regeneration, turning off your pain receptors and starting to replace everything as quickly as possible. Okay. This is kind of giving you kind of like a master, very basic, each one of the patches, they come with their own little booklets, kind of like this is the energy enhancer booklet, just to kind of give you an idea. So if you look down this second column, everything you see here is in this little booklet. It has multiple languages, but that's this here, right? So this is kind of like your little cheat sheet, your little master thing. Anyone who starts on the patches, I'd like to really deal with a custom tailoring patch application for you and your particular needs. So rest assured, you're not going to have to figure everything out by yourself. You'll have this master cheat sheet, but like I said, I will do a Zoom or a phone call with you to tell you where to put these patches on. So moving on to the second of the fantastic 5. Yeah, we just have 4 left. And so mother, now the daughter. So you can think of the mother being like the foundation of your home and the daughter being like your bearing wall, okay? And this patch does something totally different than the mother. This one protects you against radiation poisoning relief. It increases your lean muscle mass because, as you may or may not be aware, all mammals, as we age, we lose lean muscle mass, and this will increase your lean muscle mass, increases your bone density, muscle mass, and strength, increases energy, your focus, your cardiovascular function, protects you against EMFs, 5G, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi radiation, reduces belly fat, and reduces osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is not an illness. All mammals lose bone density as we age. Osteoporosis is simply describing that your bones are porous, because osteo means bone, porosis means porous. So it's just describing that your bones have become more porous, which is true for all mammals. Now, I have a great story because my own mom, my mom has always been very fit and fabulous, and she's always been into health and nutrition. Probably about 6, 7 years ago, her doctor told her that she had osteoporosis. And my mom just celebrated her 88th birthday. So let's rewind to August of last year. That's August of 2023. And she's lived in her home with my father for 37 years. And she was going down the stairs. She happens to live in a tri-level home. Main level, you've got your dining room, kitchen, all that. And then you go upstairs to the bedroom and downstairs to the family room, the sauna, the 3-car garage, all that kind of good stuff. So she was going down the stairs like she normally does. You know, we've got tile floor and then we've got wooden stairs and then you have tile floor on that family room. And I don't know what happened, but she twisted her right ankle and she ended up missing the last 3 stairs and she fell on the tile floor, landed on her left shin. Now, we all know what happens to anybody north of 70 that falls from their own feet, let alone from a step, 2 steps, 3 steps or more. They all break, usually multiple bones. They usually break one or both hips. They'll break also an arm, a shoulder, fingers. Usually they have multiple fractures. And oftentimes that's kind of the end of them. That kind of, they take a turn for a worse and never recover from that. Knock on wood, she'd been on these patches for 10 months, the Fantastic 5. Luckily, her bone density, we verified that it was increased because she did not break a single bone. She didn't even have a bone, not even a hairline fracture from that fall, which is astonishing. In stark contrast, that was in August. And then she, you know, it took her some time to recuperate from that, but it didn't take her a few years, you know, to recuperate from that. Again, no fractures of any sort. My mother-in-law, the beginning of December, she was walking in front of her house on the sidewalk and she tripped on her own feet. She guarded, you know, from falling. And when she put her hand down, she broke her wrist. And then she needed to have surgery for that wrist. So the patches work. If you wear them every day and you drink the water, they do work. Thank goodness that my mother had been on those patches for 10 months because who knows what her state, I don't think her prognosis would have been pretty good. And she's a very petite woman, kind of like myself. So I'm so glad that she had been on these patches. So let's talk about, yes, a little reminder, remember to drink, you know, your water from the time you wake up in the morning, because it's going to activate your metabolism. It can only bring good things to you until the time you go to sleep. So the next patch that I'm going to share with you, we only have 3 left. These are the first 2. And next we're going to talk about glutathione. The next 3 patches are your 3 master antioxidants. The 3 most important antioxidants of the body are glutathione, carnosine, and eon. So what does glutathione do? Super powerful master antioxidant. This is responsible for detoxifying your body, boosting your immune system, which actually, truth be known, the detoxification process and the immune system are one and the same process. Your body, when it goes to detoxify, whether it's a toxin, whether it's a germ, a virus, or bacteria, it's detoxing itself from things that are harmful to the body that don't belong in there. End of story. So when you wear the glutathione patch, just with the mother stem cell activation patch, your glutathione jumps 30%, your original glutathione levels. But when you wear the glutathione patch, now your stem cells look at your original playbook from when you were conceived, and it goes, oh, comparing where her glutathione levels are from originally what her glutathione levels are to now. Oh, she needs a 333% boost in glutathione. Boom. Within 24 hours of your wearing the glutathione patch, you're going to have a boost of anywhere from 300 to 600%, whatever is unique to you. So naturally, you're going to have more immune system defenses, and you're going to be able to detoxify your body from all sorts of known and unknown toxins that you've been exposed to, whether you inhaled it, whether you drank it, whether you ate it, whether you absorbed it through your skin, or whether you're getting it maybe from, people don't know how damaging the metals, putting metals in your mouth, like from fillings, you get mercury poisoning, you get lead poisoning. In fact, my broadcast earlier today with Dr. Galley, we were talking specifically about that. Super, super harmful for people who've been wearing contacts since the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s. Did you know that contact lens solution in the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s had mercury in it? Yeah, you're putting drops with mercury that's going from your eyes straight into your brain. Imagine that. Horrifying, but you can unring the bell of damage because you can detoxify, because the mercury does cross the blood-brain barrier. Your brain signals your liver to create glutathione, and then your glutathione sends out signals throughout your entire bloodstream to distribute the glutathione to every single muscle of the body and every organ of the body. To have good brain function, you have to have good glutathione levels. To have good nerve interaction in your body, good brain function, you have to have glutathione. People with different type of neurological conditions usually have no or low glutathione levels. Also, people with autoimmune disorders. So this is a very powerful patch. It's going to increase your antivirals. It's a radioprotector against DNA damage. We need a lot of this, especially in this day and age of all the electromagnetic frequencies that we have. It's going to improve your skin appearance, and it's going to help promote relaxation and reduce your stress. This is a research paper, so if you have any issues with any of these organs that are listed here, like you see here, pancreas, liver, gallbladder, intestines, left and right adrenals, hypothalamus, and your pituitary gland, and it's showing that the research paper says here that there is a significant improvement in pancreas with a statistical power of 72%. So stated differently, all organs achieved significant cellular physiologic functional status improvement compared to just a baseline with a statistical power of at least 91%. That's huge. 91% improvement. That is a massive benefit. If you want to read the whole paper, at the end of this presentation, I'll have the website that you can go look it up. All 90 studies are posted there. This study is called Nanoscale Glutathione Patches Improve Organ Function. I literally cut and pasted it out so that you have it verbatim here. Not a single word has been altered or changed. So after the glutathione patch, then we have the carnosine patch. Carnosine, the root word is carne, which is flesh in Latin. That supports all things that are cardiovascular from your cardiovascular system, all things related to heart, muscle, and healthy brain function, memory, focus, and brain processing speed. This is the Wonder Patch along with the Eon Patch, which we'll be talking about in just a minute. That helps me recover so much of my memory. In fact, so that it's better than it ever was my entire life. For that, I am eternally grateful. It increases your strength, your stamina, and your endurance, detoxes your brain from aluminum, and aids in wound restoration. Super powerful patch. I can't talk enough about it. Again, really fabulous complement to the Fantastic Five. And then the last patch that we're going to talk about is the Eon patch. I love this patch because it gives you brain balancing. Oh, by the way, remember to drink 50% your weight in fluid ounces of water. So the Eon patch, oh my gosh, I love this patch because this is the patch that takes your brain that's out of balance. If you've had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 concussions in your lifetime, if you've been in multiple one or more bike accidents, car accidents, falling from your own feet, where you've have you ever walked into a sliding glass door? I have, after I had my traumatic brain injury. One of the things that people don't know is that once you've had one traumatic brain injury, you are subjected to having more traumatic brain injuries because you're not 100% there. So yes, right after my traumatic brain injury, I literally bounced off a glass wall, gave myself another TBI. Isn't that terrible? But guess what? These patches unrung that bell. This particular patch balances your left and your right brain hemisphere. So it takes you from being out of balance to being in balance, and you get homeostasis. This patch is our master anti-inflammatory patch. It regulates and manages inflammation throughout the entire body. We call this patch the happy patch because it raises anti-neoplastins. It also increases the DHEA fountain of youth hormone, which the LED lights from all the LEDs, fluorescent lights, halogen lights, destroy your DHEA fountain of youth hormone. Plus, every time 100% of cars, trains, planes, boats, all vehicles, all have LED lights. That destroys DHEA fountain of youth hormone. this will replenish it, restore it, begin to regenerate your natural DHEA levels in the body. It's your fountain of youth hormone. And because it's going to reduce the cortisol levels that your adrenals produce, if you're having anxiety, I had PTSD from my accident. So PTSD, which shows up in a brain scan, believe it or not, PTSD, anxiety, negative looping thoughts. Maybe if you're in a high frustration, high demand, you got to fix, hurry, hurry, hurry. Guess what? Your adrenals produce cortisol, and then you get C-reactive protein. Guess what? This is going to reduce your cortisol and the C-reactive protein and start to bring that brain that's out of balance. It'll bring it back into balance. So you get a calming effect where you feel energized and awake with no jitters, and you feel calm, centered, and your brain feels very focused and very clear. A lot of people describe things looking much more clear, much brighter. And for those who knew that they had brain fog, they're like the brain fog lifts. And some of them become aware that they had brain fog but were unaware of it. And they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know I had brain fog. Everything is so much brighter and clearer now. It's really quite exciting. So let me share with you what antineoplastins are, and then we'll open this up for more questions, because a lot of people don't know what antineoplastins are. And we are born with antineoplastins. They're part of our original master stem cells. And these are simply peptides that are found in the urine and blood of healthy people. And the research studies show that they might stimulate your immune system and also kill certain cancer cells or keep them from proliferating, multiplying, and growing. And in a clinical setting, they're used to offset, not only various cancers, high cholesterol, certain autoimmune disorders, but also they're used for brain swelling due to infections, things like encephalitis, meningitis, HIV/AIDS, different type of neurological disorders like Parkinson's, Guillain-Barré, etc., through a process called IVIG, which is simply intravenous immunoglobulin therapy. So the good news is that we can restore your original anti-neoplastin levels all by just wearing this stem cell activation patch. Okay, so we already kind of talked about how DHEA is destroyed by LED lights. So we're going to go ahead and skip over this. Do you guys have any questions? Tim, do you have any questions that I can maybe answer for you at this time?
One question I think you answered. I was wondering if, since these are restorative, if it would be better to wear them overnight, but evidently that's not the case.
You can wear them at night, just like with Barry, who I showed you, who was suffering from long haulers COVID. We couldn't wait till, he'd not slept in 18 months. He needed good sleep right then, right there. So we started him in the evening. Also, we have Lisa Pettit, her husband, Scott Pettit. When he started, he did not want to wear them during the day. He's like, nope, I'll only wear them at night. And he had a lot of issues with OCD, obsessive compulsive disorder. He had a lot of fidgetiness, negative looping thoughts, short attention span. And he started them in the evening, which is probably just as well, because that's your parasympathetic nervous system.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah. So for some people, if you feel more drawn to wear them at night, then wear them at night. Some people can't wear them at night because they have too much energy. But some people, like Scott, didn't have an issue at all. He slept very deeply, very soundly like a baby day one. And so he still wears them at night. And within not even 2 weeks, like his wife, Lisa, said, oh my gosh, it's like I now have a different human being. I thought I was going to have to divorce this man because he was absolutely impossible with his OCD, his fidgetiness, his obsessive compulsive disorders, with his negative, his moods and everything. He goes, all of that disappeared just in like 10 days. It was really quite extraordinary. So to answer you, yes, you can wear these at night. Some people, I will have them. It all depends on what you've got going on with your body. Most people, they wear them during the day. You'll wear them 12 hours from let's say 9 a.m. in the morning, 8 a.m. I've had people that start at 4 a.m. in the morning. It just depends on what your schedule is like. But basically from morning until evening, 12 hours later, your alarm goes off, you take your patches off, and now you allow your body 12 hours of rest, repair, and restore. All the same, I have people, like I said, like Scott, he wears his in the evening. He wears his from 8 o'clock at night to 8 o'clock in the morning. Okay. And sometimes I'll even split them up where I'll have the mother and daughter they'll wear during the day, and at night we'll wear. But it's all case by case. It's individualized to you.
All right. So you have a fantastic 5. Do you recommend wearing all 5 at once?
Yes. Absolutely.
So they obviously have to go in different places.
No,
So
they
it's
don't.
like that illustration, one on the seventh cervical and then on down the spine.
Yeah, so you can wear them. We call it kissing patches, where you attach one patch where you have the adhesive overlapping, but the circles don't touch. That's called kissing patches. You can wear them on your neck bump, just down your spine. Like Carol, who's on here, she'll tell you, she wears, we
Right.
have her, because she started off with she don't no longer has AFib, but when she started, she had really severe AFib where they told her in November of
They
last
put
year.
them here. Yeah.
Yeah, they were going to install an atrial defibrillator, and long story short, she no longer needs that. But so she has the 39 and 49 right on her heart because she had AFib. And then she had also, when she came down with AFib, she also came down with shingles. So she had terrible pain because it attacked her right eye. And so when she applied the patches, we put the Eon patch and the carnosine patch above her right eye and the carnosine on her temple. And immediately she said Carol, you described it as your scalp just relaxed, right?
Yes. Oh, yes, definitely. And the pain went away. The neuropathy pain just
Drop.
went away. It was incredible.
Yeah.
It
And
was-
so again, it depends on the person. For some people, like I got hit by a bus, so like my big focus, yeah, I wanted to get rid of my scar, no question about it. But my priority was my brain was my first, that was like the first and foremost thing. And like I said, I had a pretty big laundry list of things that needed to be repaired. So I just wore all of mine for the most part. Most of them were on my brainstem. To this day, I still wear some on my brainstem and below my belly button. And every now and then I'll kind of experiment with different locations. Like we have the neuro. I also wore, in addition to the Fantastic Five, I also wore the SP6, which is a neurology patch. It regulates your autonomic nervous system, and it increases your hormones. It regulates your hormones and organ function. So I thought, I'm like, okay, I'm going to wear that one too because my brain needs it. And so I have switched that one from being below my belly button to on. There's an acupuncture point on top of your foot that's between your big toe and the second toe. And so I've experimented with that, or putting it on the acupuncture point below your knee called it's named SP6 because that's the name of a traditional Chinese medicine acupuncture point. So if you touch your knee where you have a bump, about 3 finger widths below that, that's SP6. So I've experimented with that, but the patches work all over the body. If you have pain, my number one thing is like, let's get you out of pain, because anytime the body is in pain, it's going to increase your cortisol levels as a response to the feeling of pain. We want to bring your cortisol levels down so that you feel better. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. Any other questions that I can?
They're fun to play with. And Lillian has been absolutely phenomenal at helping because I've always been healthy, and then I wasn't. It's like my husband passed away of 58 years, and so I had a broken heart, and I've never had heart problems. Well, then I had a heart problem, but the patches took care of that right away. Within 10 minutes, the AFib went away, and I've been getting progressively better and better every single day. I can still run my chainsaw, so I'm good.
Ah!
Because the patches are systemic in nature, like Carol and I had the same, being overweight and underweight is the exact same problem. Your body's out of balance.
Yeah.
So Carol, you went from 110 down to
84.
That's
this all happened when my husband passed away, but I took care of him, and he was healthy.
Mm-hmm.
Man alive, if those patches that come in, he had colon cancer, and yet the doctors couldn't understand why he was sick, because his body just produced all the good signs of everything they did, except he died. Not good. But if the patches had come along,
He'd be here.
then he'd still be here. I know that.
Yeah.
Because they're very, very, I understand stem cells. And when you explain it, Lillian, it's very, very easy to understand. But to understand the waking up of the stem cells, our own stem cells, we're not going to have an injection of somebody else's. I would never do somebody else's stem cells.
No.
I just want my own. And they're waking up with the action of the patch. It's phenomenal. It's just phenomenal. And then I keep them when I take them off. I'm careful with them, like Lillian had suggested. I put it on a cold surface, like on a mirror or something. And then the next day, there might be a little bit left in there. I like that. And so I take those used ones and I put them, I have patches everywhere. And then I take, I put them on maybe a couple of times and then throw them away. But always the new one, and then a couple of days the new ones. And the new ones always have priority. But it's really working really well.
I started noticing that a lot of people that I started on the patches, they had pets and they would take, and I was like astonished. I'm like, oh my gosh. And they'd send me a picture of their dog 2 months after they started on the patches. They would take their used patches and put it under their collar. Or if not, they would tape it to the top of their head. And 2 months later, those dogs that were 8, 9, 10 years old that had cataracts no longer had cataracts.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh. So there's a little bit of juice left on those patches. Now, I don't have, my dog died, so I haven't replaced her. And so I'm like, well, I don't have any dogs or any cats or any.
Me either.
So I'm like, I just put them on the bottom of my feet. I'm like, okay, so when I take them off at night, I put it on my bathroom counter. And I'm like, okay, because my counter is made of granite. I could either put it on my granite counter or I could put it on my mirror. And then the next day, I put those on the bottom of my feet and the rest go on my neck bump and below my belly button, the places that I want it. Like last week I was putting it on my arm because I had bumped into something and I had a little bit of you can still see a little bit of a bruise there. And like literally one day later, I took off because it was the Eon patch. Instead of my neck bump, I put it here.
Yeah.
Like, that is so cool. One day and then the bruise is gone. I just have a little remnant left. I'm like, not too bad. So yeah, they work if you use them and you drink the water, they work.
Yeah. Drinking the water is key.
It is. Yeah. And once you know that the primary structure that holds up your DNA is water, your DNA is 92% water. It's only 8% that's other matter. You're like, oh my gosh, 2% dehydration. I can't be compromising my DNA. Gotta go drink water right away.
Yeah. They work really well. They're a lot of fun. These
Mhm.
patches are a lot of fun.
Fun to feel good.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, any other questions?
I don't believe so.
Okay, great. Well, if you want
I'll call you.
Yeah, call me if you have any other further questions. I'd love to address whatever issues you might have. For now, I'm going to say ciao for now, my friends and gems. Have a great rest of your evening, and you know where to reach me. For those of you who are looking here on either Facebook or on YouTube, you know that this is my hotline. You can always reach me on the hotline or in the comments below. Of course, I always respond to everybody. If someone referred you to this video, then make sure you get back to them because they are connected too with our group and they'll be able to answer any and all questions that you might have. All right. Ciao for now. Bye.
Good night.
All right.
Seeing you.